not as a sword for the elite and the powerful. Throughout his life, Mwanawasa gave expression to these ideals.
The late President Levi Patrick Mwanawasa can be described as a man who really shifted the economic destiny of our country through his consistency in areas of fiscal discipline. He himself
Before 2022, millions of Zambian children stayed home, not because they didn't want to learn, but because school was unaffordable for many families. Today, things are much better. No more tuition fees, no more PTA fees, and no more examination fees. More than 2.5 million children are back in class across the country, from villages to towns, from the cities to the districts and provinces. Schools are feeding our children and classrooms are full again. And with the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund, communities around Zambia are transforming education. More classrooms are being built, more desks are being made, more teachers are being hired. Because Bali cares. He has delivered this for all children across Zambia. Because free education is not just a policy, it is a promise to every Zambian child, a promise that poverty will not decide their future. A promise delivered.
Welcome to new world of entertainment in Zambia. Cartoons, music, news, movies, drama, series, documentaries, food, travel, the best from Hollywood and Bollywood. International football, including CAF competitions, La Liga, Serie A, German Bundesliga, Saudi League, Carabao Cup, Asian Championship, Barclays Women's League, local leagues, and much more. Grab your Azam TV decoder at 350 Zambian Kwacha and full kit at 589 Zambian Kwacha. Affordable monthly packages: 100 Zambian Kwacha, 200 Zambian Kwacha, and 300 Zambian Kwacha. For more details, contact us on 971-246-222. 763-664-455. WhatsApp 77-500-0013. Azam TV, entertainment for everybody.
If it's not on Prime TV 2, verify it. Our dedicated reporters across the country bring you accurate, well-researched news, keeping you informed 24/7. Catch us on Topstar Channel 110 and follow us on Facebook at Prime TV 2 Zambia. Prime TV 2, the home of breaking news.
Well, it is a lovely, beautiful good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on yet another exciting and interesting edition of the Sunrise Breakfast Show right here on PTV2. Well, it's always exciting to, wake up very early in the morning and you realize it's a Friday. There is no greater feeling than that. But thank you so much for joining us. And whatever you are doing at this particular time, I hope that you are keeping yourselves warm. The weather is a little bit chilly outside, but we'll see as the day goes by, because later on we'll be updating you on what to expect in terms of the weather. But if you have been with us throughout the entire week, you do know that there's quite a number of some amazing and interesting stories that we have for you in our news, or that we had for you in our news. And just a summary, we'll be giving you an update. In case you missed out on yesterday's news, we'll be updating you on some of the stories that are making headlines. My name is Rhoda Mlenga, and of course I do have my co-host in the studio, Mr. Maidon Kilalo, and he is not a regular, but time he pops up. Good morning.
He's a filler. Good morning, Rhoda. It's always amazing to be on the Sunrise Breakfast.
Yeah, my eyes are a bit teary this morning. I think it's because of the eyeliner that I was trying to.
I see. Women and beauty. They say beauty hurts. Is it true?
Yeah, beauty hits. You know, you have to endure.
That confirms
When
that.
they are doing your hair, they pull you a little bit. You have to endure.
Yeah.
But how are you doing
And I
today?
see you with that thing that you always pat on your head after.
It's when you're wearing a wig,
Uh-huh.
and then because you can't take off your wig to scratch your scalp, so you have to use an alternative and start doing that.
Ah, I see.
It's
I
a
see.
classy way of scratching your
Ah, I see. I know one lady here who is always patting.
I know her
head.
as well.
You know her,
But
right?
a big shout out to you, Precious. But how are you doing today? How's been your week?
My week has been awesome, pretty busy, especially yesterday.
Yeah.
I actually abandoned news at 14 because of the busy day that I had yesterday.
Yeah.
But the entire week has always been busy, and but awesome, obviously, awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you had a very interesting, conversation with Mr. Mianda on the Midday Connect. Maybe just the highlight of some of the things that you did talk about.
Oh, so yesterday, yes, on the Media Connect with the governance expert, Mr. Wesley, and we discussed a number of issues with regards the parliament dissolution, which is happening today. We spoke about issues of members of parliament now. They'll become the servants now. They'll become the servants to the people,
Yeah.
because they'll be going to plead for them to be voted back into parliament. So obviously, today parliament dissolves, and members of parliament will cease to be members of parliament, and the ministerial positions will be stripped away from them.
Yeah.
So we no longer see those flags that we've been seeing in various parts of the country with regards the ministers are concerned, except for the vice president and the president, who will go up to the end of until the election day. Then we'll be able to know who is going to be the next MP, and the president, obviously, whether there will be continuation or we'll have another president in office. Yeah,
Absolutely. Now, obviously, you did see the video that was circulating on social media where the members of parliament were hugging the speaker like for the last time, and people were asking, where is the Nkana member of parliament? Did he also have a chance to hug the speaker? Because he's given the speaker a lot of trouble.
I'm telling you, it's been they've been on each other's toes throughout the life of parliament. I equally did not see Bino Mpundu on that particular day, and we've not heard from him with regards that particular day, the last day of parliament. But yes, speaking to the pictures, like I said yesterday on the Midday Connect, you would wonder whether these people have altercations, because you could not see an opposition member of parliament, neither members of parliament coming from the same political party. They were all in a jovial mood, others shedding tears. We don't know whether it were tears of joy or maybe others were shedding tears thinking, will I be back in parliament? I may not be voted back into parliament. So probably those were tears of joy or tears of regret, whether or not they're going to be voted into office again.
Okay, so obviously this is the time that you see a lot of, members of parliament. This is where you get to know who was your member of parliament. Yesterday we were hanging out outside, and I asked one of the women that I was interviewing to say, do you know who your member of parliament around here is, or your councillor? She said, I have no idea who the MP is. I have no idea who the councillor is. And she said, well, since we're approaching the elections, obviously we'll get to know him and we'll get to see him. And it's quite sad that, the people of certain constituencies only get to know their members of parliament, towards the election, because they want that vote, they want to make you happy. They want to nyengerela you that you should vote for them and their councillor as well. And at this particular time, they really had a lot of things that they were complaining about, but they couldn't have access to their councillors or members of parliament. And I think that should not be the case.
Which is quite unfortunate, Rhoda. I did highlight that yesterday with Mr. Mianda on the Media Connect as well, because there's some members of parliament that you don't come to see at the dissolution of parliament, or probably when they are mentioned somewhere, because they are not seen in parliament. Neither are they seen in the community where they were voted. So really, even as we go towards the elections, into these elections, people should be able to scrutinize these members of parliament, knowing who is there for them, who stands for them, because they're sent there as representatives, you understand?
Exactly.
So you don't go to parliament just to say, yeah, and probably that's the only time you get to hear that some of these members of parliament, they've never represented you, they've never highlighted issues happening in your community. So the only time you're going to see them again is when they're coming back to ask for that particular vote from you. So scrutinize them, watch them, look them into the eye to say, we sent you to parliament, we never saw you speaking in parliament, neither did we see you on the ground. So obviously, it's time for scrutiny now.
Yeah, but on the last day when they were saying goodbyes to each other, I think we saw a lot of unfamiliar faces. And people were wondering to say, these are members of parliament, where were they? Like, we don't know them. But anyways, just in case, the Zambian people are wondering why today is important. Yes, Zambia's parliament is being formally dissolved today, which is Friday, the 15th of May, 2026, ahead of the general elections scheduled for the 13th of August, 2026. Under Zambia's constitution, parliament must dissolve 90 days before general elections. Now, the 13th National Assembly already adjourned Cindy earlier this week, meaning it ended its sittings without setting another meeting date before a dissolution. So now you might be wondering, what exactly does this mean? Members of parliament immediately stop functioning as MPs once dissolution takes effect, and parliamentary business and committee work definitely ends. So cabinet and government ministries continue operating because government itself is not dissolved. And Vice President Talina Lumango recently emphasized that only parliament dissolves, not the executive branch of government. And Zambia now fully enters the election period leading to the August pause. And the upcoming election will definitely choose the president, members of parliament, members of the National Assembly, councillors, and council chairpersons. So today obviously marks an important constitutional moment for Zambia. The dissolution of parliament is not a crisis or a shutdown of government. We must emphasize it's simply the formal end of the current legislative term as the country prepares for elections in August from now on. So the focus shifts from parliamentary debates to the people themselves, because you know that citizens will soon decide the next leadership and direction of the country. It's also just a reminder to us, the people of Zambia, that democracy is a continuous process, not just a voting day. So this is why this particular day is important.
Absolutely. This day is very, very important to not only to members of parliament themselves, but it is not even important to members of parliament because they're losing jobs. They're joining those that do not have jobs. So, yeah, they're losing jobs, but it's an important day for the country as parliament is dissolving because they're yet to see who becomes their next leader in their communities.
All right, so before we kickstart our programming right here, not really necessarily programming because we're already programming, I'll get to you in the nitty-gritties of what we're going to be having on the program, or also, getting to find out what's on Mr. Maidon's mind today. It could be something that happened during the week that you remembered today and said, it's a Friday, let me bring this up before we close off the week. I need to talk about it. Yeah. And one thing I've noticed is that days are moving fast. Is it only me?
Probably
already the 15th.
Yes, they are. I think the days are moving so fast in anticipation for something because obviously it's thinking about the elections, the campaigns, and everything else. Speaking of the campaigns, yesterday I found along Chachacha Road vehicles being mounted with loudspeakers. I was saying, oh my goodness, we are into it already. So obviously everyone is anticipating for this particular busy schedule from now to the 13th of August.
Are you part of any committees?
No, the only committee I know is PTV2.
All right. I know it's very important early in the morning to just get our health in check. And this is why on our Fitness Friday, I'll be giving you some tips of how you can have a healthy weekend. I think as Zambians or human beings in general, we always have that notion that when it's a Friday, you know, people want to drink, they want to indulge in unhealthy food and healthy things, you know, things that are ungodly.
Fast foods, things that are ungodly.
Ungodly things. But there's a better way that you can stay healthy, obviously, as we kickstart our, obviously a little bit of wine does not kill, but you know, let's not overdo it.
There we go.
Fitness Friday, you know, the first thing that you need to do according to the healthy weekend is that you need to strive for at least 150 minutes of exercise per week. So this can be broken down to a quick 30 minutes of exercise per day. It could be walking, swimming, or anything that gets your heart rate up. And so let me tell you about something interesting I've been doing. I've been walking. You know, but this 30 minutes is not it. Me, I walk for like 1 hour 30 minutes just to, you know.
And you shared something that you started gym, right?
Yeah, and then I stopped.
Then you stopped. And the one funny thing is that when you started gym, that's when your weight started going up.
It really went up.
You stopped. Even look at this. You stopped. Started doing the walks.
I stopped. Started doing the walks, and I was also practicing some portion control, and my weight just drastically went down.
Wow! So
is it showing? Or maybe you see me. You people around here see me on a daily basis, and somebody that has not seen me in a while will be like, "Oh wow." Anyway, it will be seeing more.
Maybe you'll be able to notice.
Let me not force it out of you.
Maybe.
All right. So another thing that you can do, obviously, is cut your coffee calories over this weekend. You know, at least try to skip the morning cup of coffee and break that weekly cycle. I don't know if you, when you drink coffee, you know, people always add sugar, but if you drink coffee without sugar, is it, you know?
I've never tried. I don't
know. I need to find out about that. It tastes okay. Me personally, I'm not a sugar person, so I don't take anything.
We can't live in the same home. We can't.
We need to prepare ourselves for old age.
My goodness. Not for the viewers, but this is for me.
Let's prepare ourselves for old age, my dear.
Whether you like it or not, you're going to age. Whether you like it or not, we're headed to.
But you know, you can avoid certain, you know, things that come with old
we're
age.
headed to Memorial Park. That's a fact. Like I said, this is not for the viewers. So for the viewers, yeah, exercise. That's diety that to not compromise your healthy. So like Rhoda is saying,
I think you are you only live once type of person.
That's a kind of thing.
But that's good also. That's good.
YOLO.
But anyways, you need to cut your coffee calories, and this also brings me to the issue of you know, we overtake sugar sometimes over the weekend, because sugar comes in a lot of forms, you know, these fizzy drinks, these alcohols that slows down your metabolism or your, you know, digestion. You really need to cut off on some of those drinks. At least maybe opt for a drink that will, you know, cut off your calories or something, if there is such a thing. Yeah. But also you need to keep a fitness journal. Fitness journals are extremely beneficial if you are trying to keep fit. When kept with you, you can also track your food, your weight, etc. for the day and track your progress. Now, you also need to pay attention to your thoughts. This is, I think that people always, when we talk about fitness or health, they always think about the physical, you know, being or appearance or a focus, but we are also saying that you need to keep, need to pay attention to your thoughts. We're talking about mental health here as well. So your thoughts are the biggest influence on your actions. You need to watch and listen to your thoughts and fight that urge. You also need to eat the rainbow. I know you won't understand, you know, the rainbow if you don't keep fit. Obviously, when we're talking about the rainbow, we're talking about, you know, we don't mean Skittles. You need to make sure that you eat your greens at every meal and also incorporate the other colors that you can. The rainbow, you know, apariko ma vegetables, apariko to my carbohydrates, to mono, apariko to proteins. That is what we mean by the rainbow. So each and every, you know, there are certain people that just don't like vegetables.
Yeah, they are.
They've just said no to vegetables. They would rather just eat, you know, if it's shima with meat, vegetables.
Wow.
That. Really? There are people like that. I've actually met people like that.
Hey.
And you can't convince them that, vegetables are healthy. They've just gone that direction.
Just like you can never convince me that sugar is bad for your health.
How sure is that sugar? But anyways, we'll see how it goes. But I wish you all the best.
And I know nutritionists and those in the health sector are saying this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Oh my goodness. Sugar and I are inseparable.
Is there anything that has been on your mind, Maidon? It could be today or, the week that we're ending.
Yeah, something that has been on my mind is the inseparable between, or the relationship that is there between elections or politics and street vending.
Oh.
If that relationship was to be practiced among people in relationships, would not be seeing divorce cases in the courts. Because if you and I remember very well, when the UPND just formed government, a few months or a year or so, the streets of Lusaka were clean.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with street vending, except in certain areas. Go to town today. Most of the roads are almost closing up because of street vending. So I'm just thinking, is it the fear of losing a vote? So probably street vending cannot be controlled. So I think this is what has been on my mind. I was in the capital city, the CBD yesterday, and it's chaos. Most of the streets in the CBD are slowly closing. Slowly but sure closing.
Coming back to the old.
We are going back to the old way of how the city looked. So, council, do your thing, regardless of what is ahead of us, the elections, because obviously there's that thing like we might just lose a vote if we, because what happens is, because people have got that mind, they've got that notion that this time around, since we're going towards the elections, no one's going to disturb us. They are moving away from the markets, the designated areas of trading, and moving to the streets. So even those that have trading spaces in markets, they are moving from the markets going to the streets. So regardless of what is coming ahead of us in terms of elections, we just need to ensure that the city is left as it's supposed to be. By the way, Lusaka is the capital city. Imagine somebody coming from another country and they tell you, take me to the CBD. The first thing they see, the first street from Cairo Road going to Kulima Tower is flooded with clothes and everything else, merchandise. So I think this is something that has been on my mind for this particular week.
Absolutely.
I don't know about you.
And that reminds me, when you talk about the issue of street vending, it's quite tricky because, street vendors or people that sell on the street become very sensitive to this issue when it's brought up. So the other day I was in town and the council has stopped using that force, energy that they were using when they come in town, because there's an incident that happened where somebody was actually bashed by a car.
I remember that incident.
And so the council just came and said, "Ngati muri bepo guri sira beta mwankala kunyumba osa bura mtown." Like, even them, I think at some point they get tired.
Yes.
Because it's like when you remove these people from the street, they go back to their market stands for, a short period of time. They know that this period of time the council has already gone, they've already knocked off, they come back again. So it's a bit tricky, and also it's sad to see that that market that has been created for them still has spaces that are not occupied, because people opt to go on the other side because they feel like, you make more sales when you are on the street. But this issue, I don't know what it's going to take for it to actually be resolved.
It will take great minds, it will take people just magnanimous to ensure that they maintain the law, regardless of what lies ahead of us in terms of elections or politics which surrounds this issue. Just ensure that certain areas are left to be maintained as they are. Okay, and marketplaces should remain marketplaces, unlike the situation. Yes, we understand our brothers and sisters are trying to make ends meet, but of course it's supposed to be done in a way that does not compromise the status of the city. You understand?
So now what's on my mind is that I don't know if it's because I'm new, on this Great North Road. Oh my God, this road it's so dangerous. Like cars don't stop moving. Like I know it's a highway, but I've noticed that there isn't much traffic lights in this road, right?
No, I think you've
From the mall.
from the mall coming this side, there isn't any.
Okay.
From Novera Mall.
So it's like when you have to cross, the Great North Road, you just have to be on your toes.
Yes.
And look for, which I think is very dangerous for a lot of people, especially in the night. Cars are always at high speed. And for you to be able to cross this road, you just have to, hold your fingers. But
I think you've highlighted something very important. We've recorded a number of accidents on this particular highway. And from Novella Mall up to somewhere 6 miles, it has now become a residential area. So the council should take it upon themselves to ensure that some of these sports areas have been designated for street lights, traffic lights rather, yes, because it is very busy. Really, like you've said, it is a toll for school-going children to be able to cross the roads at this particular stretch. So really, it's something that needs to be looked into.
Yeah. All right, so as we go on with our program, we will be speaking to Mr. Mianda. Of course, he is a representative from the Zambia Council of Social Development. And of course, they will be talking about this issue of, Parliament dissolving and what people should expect. And also just highlights of how this particular, year or term has been in terms of how Parliament has been operating. And we'll also be giving you updates of some of the news stories right here on PTV2. And of course, Jeremiah will come through just to give us a highlight of some of the stories making headlines in sports. As you know, it's a Friday, and of course, a lot happens in terms of sports over the weekend. So a lot to definitely look out for. But of course...
Not to cut you short, Rhoda, I'm sure we'll be able to hear a story from Jesse.
Yeah.
I saw a story yesterday that the Heroes National Stadium has been invaded by honeyworms.
Wow.
Yes, you understand that they are growing new grass, new turf.
Yeah.
So it is both hybrid and it is hybrid. So it's both artificial turf and grass, natural grass. Yes. So I saw a post yesterday that honeyworms have invaded National Hero Stadium. So obviously, so it is invaded by Jesse.
Okay. Right. So let's have a look at what the weather looks like this morning. It's very important to get updated with how the weather is going to be, especially if you are packing your bags and going for a mini vacation around the city of Lusaka, or the outskirts of Lusaka, or wherever you're going to be going. You need to know, this is something that we don't usually check sometimes. Like, how is the weather going to be like for the next, 2-3 days, so that you pack, things that you'll be able to use. Ungapake juice, food, can't smile, kunkara zuva ilicho. You don't know if it's going to rain on the other side. Yeah. You start off from home, mvula yakula ukawenda ku other side. Kuli mvula kuli beso bantu banji wambokutambwa njani uyu muntu kanzi.
Yeah, so these are things that we should be paying particular attention to. Things like weather.
Exactly.
It's not just about eating healthy, just for sugar, but what good. Don't do that.
I want Kenya sugar, I did it as well. But anyways, let's move on and let's have a look at how the kwacha is performing against other currencies today. All right, so do not forget that you're catching us live. That is on Topstar channel 110. And of course, we are also live on our Facebook page, that is PTV2 Zambia, as well as YouTube. So you can get to leave your comments and your contributions in the comment section with, some of the things that we'll be definitely talking about right here on the Sunrise Breakfast Show. We get into some of the stories that are making headlines in our news. And of course, we begin on a sad note. And of course, this is a sad story where a 6-year-old boy has died following a road traffic accident at Chandamali Market along the Kabuta Chandamali Road in Chinsali district. Police say the child was hit by a Toyota Allion vehicle, which allegedly lost control due to excessive speed while he was crossing the road. The driver has since been detained as investigations into the matter continue. More details in this report by Richard Simbaya.
A sober mood has engulfed Chandamali area in Chinsali district following the fatal road traffic accident, which has claimed a life of 6-year-old boy. Muchinga Police Commanding Officer Kenneth Kangombe confirmed the incident to Prime Television News today, says the accident happened yesterday around 17 hours at Chandamali Market along the Kabuta Chandamali Road. The accident involved a Toyota Lion motor vehicle bearing registration number 295ZM driven by a 21-year-old Cosmas Chansamutale of Mayadi compound in Chinsali district. Commissioner Kangombe explained the driver allegedly lost control of the vehicle due to excessive speed and hit 6-year-old Philemon Kangwa, who was crossing the road from the left to the right side. The juvenile sustained internal body injuries and a fractured right leg and was later rushed to Chinsali Hospital, where he was pronounced dead upon arrival. He disclosed that the body of the deceased has since been deposited in the hospital mortuary waiting post-mortem examination. Meanwhile, the police have impounded the vehicle involved in the accident, while the driver has been detained in police custody and is expected to be charged accordingly. Richard Simbaya, reporting for Prime TV News, Chinsali, Muchinga Police.
We move to...
All right, what other story do we have this morning?
We move to Livingston, where Kwalombota Manangombe reports that residents of Eliane Batel Township in Livingston woke up to a shock after discovering the body of a 77-year-old man believed to have died by suicide. The deceased, identified Venasi Nkinga, was found hanging from a mango tree with a rope tied around his neck. The circumstances surrounding the incident are still unclear, and the motive behind the suspected suicide has not yet been established. Police officers later picked up the body. We have the details.
The Livingston Central Police Station has dealt with a suicide case of a 77-year-old man of Ellenbrittle Township in Livingston who has taken his own life. The deceased has been identified as Venasi Nkinga, who used a ratchet rope to commit suicide by hanging himself on a mango tree. The incident is reported to have occurred between May 13th, 2026 around 16 hours and May 14th, 2026 around 08 hours in Ellenbrittle Township. Southern Province Police Commanding Officer Mono Namalongo says on May 13th, 2026 around 16 hours, Patrick Naslele, aged 46, also of Ellenbrittle Township, who identified the deceased as his co-caretaker, left the now deceased at home to attend a funeral gathering within the same township where he spent the night. He says on May 14, 2026, around 08 hours, Mr. Naslele returned home in the company of a friend. While the friend remained outside, he noticed a person under a mango tree who appeared to be standing, a situation that prompted him to greet him but received no response. Upon moving closer, he discovered that the person was hanging from a tree with a rope around the neck. He immediately alerted Mr. Naslele, who then informed Mr. Eric Zulu, who reported the matter to the Zambia police. Acting on the report, police officers visited the scene and found the body of the deceased hanging from a mango tree adjacent to the incomplete house where the two caretakers had been staying. Mr. Namalongo says a physical inspection of the body revealed no visible external injuries. The body has since been removed from the scene and deposited in Batoka mortuary, where it awaits a post-mortem examination and burial. Meanwhile, an inquiry file has been opened. Kwalombota Mwanangombe reporting, Prime TV News in Livingstone, Southern Province.
Right, so in another development, President Hakainde Hichilema has sworn in Major General Vincent Mukanda as Vice Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Zambia, alongside Zambia Sinkala as Commissioner within the ECZ. The head of state has reaffirmed government's commitment to delivering peaceful elections anchored on law, order, and non-violence. The president further notes that the prevailing peaceful environment has created a conducive climate for increased investments and economic growth. He says this has enabled government to fund key programs such as free education, social cash transfer, and debt servicing. We do have a report.
As the country prepares for the August 13th general elections, President Hakainde Hichilema has sworn in Major General Vincent Mukanda as Vice Chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Zambia and Zambia Sinkala as Commissioner at the ECZ. During the swearing-in ceremony, President Hichilema reaffirmed government's commitment to ensuring peaceful and credible elections anchored on law, order, and the rejection of all forms of violence.
This government, for the people of Zambia, want to ensure that elections are not a context for bloodletting. Elections are not a competition to see who injures more people, as it used to be. And so we expect that you, under the leadership of the chair and the management, Chief Electoral Officer, you will work with the government for the people of Zambia to deliver free, fair, credible, peaceful elections.
The head of state says the prevailing peaceful environment has continued to attract increased investment and support for economic growth, which has in turn enabled government to implement key programs such as free education, social cash transfer, and debt servicing initiatives, among others.
I'm connecting this to violence, law and order, stability, no stone throwing, no pangas. It's an environment which is an absolute necessity. And then, with debt restructuring, we can release resources. We have been able to release resources to take back to school 2.5 million children. Where I sit, where I stand, it's that simple. And Zambians need to follow this story. Now we have kids back in school. We wouldn't have had money to fund 40 million kwacha per constituency per year in CDF. We wouldn't take that girl vulnerable girl at boarding school, government pays now. Exam fees, government pays. This is the connection to having a stable environment, an electoral process that's peaceful.
Time has come for this country to stand up and be able, to hold credible, free and fair elections. And that's the call, that I'll make to the various stakeholders in the electoral process. They can rest assured that our doors at the commission are open.
President Hichilema has urged the newly appointed officials to work collaboratively with the commission. Oswald Kafwanga, Prime TV News, Lusaka.
All right, so those are some of the stories making headlines in our news. We'll keep updating you with some more stories as we go on with the Sunrise Breakfast Show. Stay glued because we still have a lot coming up on our program.
Absolutely. We'll be joining someone via online just to have an online conversation with them. But for now, Rhoda, we get into the newspaper review and see what the local tabloids are reporting.
Yeah, so we do start with Daily Revelation, and it has a screaming headline here that says, CF not threatened by Mundubile, Makebi Alliance, Kalaba. There's also another headline here that says,
let me just throw in my comment here.
Okay.
I wonder why opposition political parties would fight another opposition political party. Why? We saw this in the 2021 elections. There's really a political party that was really fighting the UPND. Like, they competed on the colors, they rebutted whatever the UPND said. But for me, I feel the biggest threat should be those that were in government, not necessarily your fellow opposition political party. I think these comments should be coming from the opposition attacking the other oppositions. For me, that's how I feel.
Okay, so we also have another headline here that says, I am recontesting Chawama on the Makebi Mundubile ticket Nundwe.
I saw another post from Matero area member of Parliament, Zambia, who said, either contesting in Matero or Chawama. But why?
Why Chawama now?
Why Chawama now? I think it's the fear of competition.
You know, when you look at the competition in Matero right now, it's very tough.
It's tough.
It's very tough. It's maybe it's known who is really getting the numbers.
Yeah.
And maybe somehow it's also unpredictable, but it's tough competition. I think where we're coming from is the Mausampa didn't really have competition.
No, he didn't.
Because he was like the most famous one, the most loved by the people. But, you know, as years go by,
and also being favored by the political party that was standing on, because then the PF was really, really, really hot. So obviously, some of the members of parliament, they win because of the political party they are standing on. So obviously, yeah, that favor and his personality as well won elections at Matero. But this time around, have you ever gone into going into an election and already you know someone who's like, oh, you're bad,
and you already have an alternative?
Yes. So this is what is happening to some of the members of parliament.
It just gives you a picture that when he says, you know, he will contest for either Chawama or Matero, it just gives you a picture that, you know, what if this happens? You know, there are doubts here and there. So he's saying maybe another alternative would be Chawama. But obviously the Chawama people also have somebody that they want on that particular seat. So So another headline here, you know, that says, we're still actually on the Daily Revelation. It says SMEs failing due to financing constraints, Msokotwane. You know, just the other day, right here on the Sunrise Breakfast Show, we did have a guest who is a businessman and a business analyst as well. And he did mention quite a few things that I think were important in regards to business. In that, you know, he mentioned that a lot of banks in Zambia have, you know, it's not easy to access a loan and, you know, their rates are quite high. So it's very hard for SMEs to thrive in their business, and they're having quite a number of challenges. When you talk about, you know, if you own a shop, a store in town, the rentals are quite high, you know, and people are just doing business for the sake of at least something to eat at the end of the day, and not for long term.
It's all about survival. And the other thing is that most of the small businesses aren't registered. So for them to access financial assistance from these financial institutions becomes difficult. So it's just about survival.
Okay, so we do move on to the Real Times, and we have a screaming headline here that says, Makebi presents bag of 100 as thousands swarm Lusaka Civic Center in support of his candidature for next week's nomination.
You saw the clips?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. It was raining bags. Ndiye simbo yawo nikachola ka? Ndiye simbo yawo ichola with that. Yeah. Wish them the best.
Absolutely. All right, so we have another headline here, very interesting, social issue. Wife gives happy urine bath. A Lusaka man has ended his 7-year marriage after discovering that his wife has been urinating in his bathing water as part of a charm ritual. Women are doing the most there.
Do these things work? You wonder.
I wonder. For him to discover and actually end the marriage, meaning it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, right?
Maybe it does for a short period of time, but don't be deceived. For charm is deceiving, right?
I'm telling you it is. What people believe in, man.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
All right, so Money Daily has a headline that says Israel debt extends to 2043. That is a $460 million deal that we are talking about. And Zambia and Israel have signed an amendment agreement relating to the restructuring of approximately $460 million in debt owed to the government of Israel.
Yeah, this is just one of the UPND government's core news. Yes, they promised that they're going to restructure the debt, and these are the results. Some of the debt renders now saying, okay, now you can breathe up to 2043.
Yeah.
But what is important to know is that this debt has been pushed to the next generations, the generations to come.
I tell you. I don't know how old we're going to be.
Even after you and I are gone, 2043, we'll be
gone?
We'll still be
no,
around.
We'll still be around.
I know. What you said that you'd prefer go up to what age? 70?
80.
89. 89? Wow. When I will be
at the farm, enjoying nature.
Your time is in technology and the pamwamba, so unkarachepa kapona kozienza weka continues ajabu mfamu uzunguluka,
Who knows? Maybe there will be a discovery of some medicine that will age you backwards.
Ingawame, kubuela for 15 years. Oh my goodness.
All right, so we move to the Mass newspaper, and the Mass newspaper has a headline here that says, "Don't impose rejects on voters, Chief Chongo." Another headline here says, "Ghost MPs, councillors cause apathy." An issue that we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yes,
people don't want to vote anymore because these MPs and councillors are just ghosts in some of their constituencies. They never show up.
You know what I've realized about politics? I'm a politic enthusiast. One day I would love to sit in that house, or probably even at the State House, God willing. But one thing I've realized about politics, I hope I will not be reminded this when time comes for me. It's about individuals, themselves and their families, not necessarily for the people. For most of them, there are very few that would do it for the people. All right, they just want people to put them in those offices. After that, it's about them and the family. The only time you're going to see them again is at a time such as this one, when we're going towards the elections. They're coming back to beg for that particular vote. Vatenga ma gratuity yawa, pa bashita enjoy na ma families yawa. Bafuna babwerere mo votere foot, wakatenga foot ma gratuity yenangu. That's the only thing. It's not about the people for most of the politicians, yes.
And then it's quite sad that sometimes there'll be this aspiring member of parliament, and it's all roses. They'll give you promises, and you're like, maybe this one is different. A few months down the line, 1 year down the line, it's the same story. What really happens there? Is it that people just get caught up in in the system that they already found, and they're like, oh, I'm not different. Let me. Well, we cannot deny the fact that there are some members of parliament that are really good. They've been down to the ground in their constituencies. We can mention a few. They know what's happening, and people are just happy, and they want them back as their leaders. But some are just, it's just one and the same system.
Absolutely, just one and the same. Yes, there are those that have heart for the people, and really, those are the people that the electorate should be looking forward to try and put them back in these particular offices.
All right, so the News Diggers says, goodbye, good luck. HH bids farewell to his ministers as Pali dissolves. Obviously today, IMF tells government to restore Tazama open access. Deliver free, peaceful elections. The president tells ECZ. Those are some of the headlines that we have on the News Diggers.
We move to the Daily Nation. Elections are not for bloodletting. That's according to President Hakainde Hichilema. We go to another headline from the Daily Nation. Let's liberate those in prisons. That's according to Kapata. What does she mean? Those who've been sent to prison should be let go after they've won. Maybe you can just read that. I'm sure you're able to see that. Rhoda is not putting
You have glasses, Maidon.
Rhoda is not putting on her specs, so I'll help her.
So it goes on to say, says the union between Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu will not only liberate Zambians, but will also unshackle political prisoners such as Nixon Chilangwa, Ronald Chitotela, Raphael Nakachinda, and many others languishing in jail for political reasons. Okay, so obviously meaning they need to bring them together, set them free, obviously, and just that they can.
Once they win the elections, once they become, they form government. Yeah, probably that's what they mean. Zambians want change. Makebi, do Zambians want change?
Do you?
Do you? Let's move on.
Let's not speak for the Zambians.
Let's not speak for the Zambians. We're just a pinch. Yeah. Mudolo succeeds to remotely mobilize supporters. How? Do you know this particular individual? This is a guy who's been very vocal. He's based in South Africa, and he's been very vocal and wants to stand as president. But ever since he started talking about presidency and everything else, he's never come to Zambia to push his agenda. But he keeps on saying this, and they say he succeeded in remote mobilizing supporters. I don't know how he has done it.
Okay.
But remote, yeah, you know what I mean.
So maybe the people in the diaspora who will come back home to vote.
Maybe, just maybe. Maybe.
Interesting. All right. So now the Times of Zambia has a screaming headline here: choose continuity. HH urges Zambians to continue building the country under UPND. Well, the president is also campaigning, it seems. And also Sokotwani attributes economic turnaround to teamwork. Obviously saying that there's been a lot of teamwork in the UPND government in terms of, what they want to achieve, what they want to build for the country, and some of the developments that they have been working on. Work with government to deliver peaceful poll. HH urges ECZ. Government assures digital content creators who have obviously been crying a lot about, how content creation in Zambia isn't, making a lot of money. But obviously this is something that needs to be looked into. There's a lot of great content creators that we can mention right here, but young people also need to make a living out of content creation. I think it's been doing very well in other countries, like Nigeria. Content creators are getting paid, endorsements, and so on and so forth. So this is something that needs to be looked up to, because it's almost as the same as entrepreneurship, and at least young people are using social media platforms for positive impact.
Absolutely. I know of a content creator who visited the country recently from Ghana. he was amused to hear that Zambia is not among the countries that have been monetized as far as social media is concerned. So this is something that really needs to be looked into and ensure young people have extra source of income.
Great. All right. For now, let's get to see what happened today in history and a little bit of some did you knows. When we come back, we'll of course be joined by Leah Mitaba from the Zambia Council of Social Development, just having a conversation with Leah in regards to the current happenings in the country. We'll be back shortly. All right, welcome back. You're still watching the Sunrise Breakfast Show right here on PTV2, and thank you so much for staying with us. And as most of you know, Parliament is expected to dissolve today, Friday, the 15th of May, 2026, in line with the constitutional requirement that Parliament be dissolved 90 days before the general election. As the curtain falls, the country remains divided over how this parliament will be remembered. Opposition Patriotic Front Lunte Member of Parliament Mutotwe Kafwaya has described the 2021-2026 parliament as the worst legislative experience for both lawmakers and citizens. Now, on the other hand, the University of Zambia historian Professor Bizek Piri says this parliament will be remembered for major political realignments following the overwhelming victory of the UPND in 2021. We do have a short report by Favor Chisi.
Two officers from Mufumbwe Town Council were arrested.
For 5 years, they sat across from each other in Parliament, debating fiercely, disagreeing sharply, and defending opposing political positions. But beyond the heated exchanges on the floor of the House, many of them built friendships, shared laughter, and became family. Yesterday, emotions filled the chambers of the National Assembly as members of Parliament bid farewell at the close of the 13th session of the National Assembly ahead of Parliament's dissolution this week. Lunte Member of Parliament Mutotwe Kafwaya has described the 2021-2026 Parliament as one of the most difficult legislative periods.
I would say this for me has been the worst experience, not just for me as a legislator, but also for the people. I don't think there has been a parliament in this country that has taken away people's action of cyber laws, the two cyber laws. Those laws took away the liberties of people. It is this parliament that has seen the introduction of the CCTV Act. It's still a bill today, but it will become an act.
Shiwangandu Member of Parliament Stephen Kampyongo says members of Parliament endured numerous challenges during their tenure.
In my language, you understand, because standing here with my young brother, we have been through a lot during this tour of duty. Our seats were petitioned from the starting point. Petitioned, some of the cases even went to the as far as the Constitutional Court, like his. After that, a lot of issues came. Our party was ransacked. The Patriotic Front was ransacked.
University of Zambia historian Bizek Piri says the just ended session of Parliament was characterized by unprecedented political realignments.
Within Parliament also, one of the things that was very evident when you look at the record, where when the debates were going on, we saw a situation where members of the opposition PF are voting in support of the party in power. And that has been something that was very, very new. It has never been like that.
For some lawmakers, yesterday marked the end of their parliamentary journey, while others face uncertainty as they await adoption decisions from their political parties. As the curtains fall on the 13th Parliament, some lawmakers will soon receive adoption letters confirming another chance before the electorate, while others may receive disappointing news ending their political careers. Favorite Chisi, Prime TV News, Lusaka.
All right, so quite an interesting report from Favorite Chisi, and thank you so much for that update. Now, joining me, obviously, online is Ms. Leah Mitaba, who is the Executive Director for the Zambia Council for Social Development. Good morning, Madam Leah, and thank you so much for joining me today. First, Patriotic Front lawmaker Mtotwe Kafwaya says this has been the worst parliament in Zambia's democratic history. Is that an exaggeration, or does he have a point?
To begin with, I must mention that the dissolution of parliament is a democratic transition moment. And it marks the formal end, of course, of the legislative cycle and opens the door for citizens, including Honorable Mtoto Kafwaya, for instance, to reassess and the priorities and the way that legislatures carry themselves. So I would say then, in response to your question, that it is his democratic right offices must remember is that public office is temporary and ultimately subject to the will of citizens. So in this case, citizens are in order to reflect on how Parliament performed. So our own reflection on the legacy of the current Parliament is that this Parliament will likely be remembered for the major legislative reforms and a very active lawmaking agenda, particularly in the last 2 weeks of its sitting. At the same time, there have been serious concerns, and I think Honorable Mtoto Kafwaya's concern is one of them, which have been raised by civil society, opposition actors, and some citizens regarding the pace at which the legislation was actually processed, especially towards the end of its term. The passage of a very large number of bills within a compressed period has sparked debate about whether Parliament sufficiently fulfilled its deliberative or consultative role. So I think I would say that I hold similar sentiments to say a democracy is where, yes, as citizens we entrust power in certain arms of government, but that doesn't take away the responsibility of those that are trusted with that power to come and consult our constituencies. So if I look at the 77 bills that were passed towards the end of Parliament, did the members of Parliament have a chance to consult the people that they are representing? And I think on that score, they failed lamentably. So sadly, it's one of the things that sticks out.
Last 5 years, just in a nutshell, how would you describe the tone and the character of this Parliament?
Interesting. I think most Zambians that I have interacted with are saying that somehow the performance of this Parliament was, it was elected on very high expectations. I think this Parliament had overwhelming support from the Zambian voters. So you see, when there's such overwhelming expectation, there's also an expectation that the performance will be above average. The performance will be top-notch. And I think this is why many citizens are kind of like ending this on a low, where they feel that they were not ably represented. There were key contentious issues around Bill 7, around the Public Gathering Act, I think issues around other governance-related legislation like the NGO Act, where there's a perception from civil society organizations on the back where it's deserved. And I would like to say that the beginning, the note at which Parliament started, when we saw the President Act, that was positive. And I think respect for human rights and governance, I think that was good. Progressive legislation such as the enactment, revision and enactment of the CDF Act that was taking resources closer to the people. That was another positive. Of course, we saw of the National Planning Act, which was going to be consultative and include you and I. Those were progressive in the way they were implemented. And I think Ministry of Finance would be one of the ministries they performed, continuing to meet constitutional obligation to present a national budget in a timely manner, but also in a really I think we saw held, we saw quarterly meetings held. Minister of Home Affairs in my in my thoughts, was performing ministries, because if you look at the enactment of the attempt to change your act, you look at the current public bill, they haven't consulted the people. So I would put it amongst one of the worst ministries, and I think Parliament should have actually helped put them in. So yeah, that's what I'd say, and I would rate them moderately because there were many times, for instance, now I'll take it to the Speaker. So when appointment of the first female Speaker of National Assembly, her Honor, very happy, the Senior Council, she's got a lot of experience on issues related to making, and also I think we expected that the performance of her parliament, many instances where she had a calm demeanor and she was quite great. But then she also had some kilos. And one of those, I think, which is in public domain, is where she danced when Bill 7 was enacted. And that for me also goes as one of the events that happened. I know that we're emotional beings, but it's important for those charged with responsibilities to note that their offices, such as the office of the Speaker of National Assembly, is apolitical. Yes, we might know that some of these appointments are based on political action, but I think the perception of fairness is as important as fairness itself. So where people see such a celebration, I think that people who could have also been happy that yes, the Speaker now is a female, has been appointed to adjudicate over Parliament, could have been disappointed. I was disappointed. So I think that where we say we don't know to happen, and thing about it, Rhoda, is that Parliament has seen some of these good the low moments, and they invited ZCSD and a number of other stakeholders when they were launching the Institutes of Parliamentary Studies. And I think one of the things that they is that before a parliament starts its work, they orient them, and also they build capacity so that people know the role of a backbencher, the role of, say, maybe people that sit up front, the role of the opposition leader of Parliament, one that is leading the people that sit on the right side of Parliament, as well as, of course, the role of the Speaker, her deputy, and other portfolios. So I think that is a step in the right direction, so that every Speaker understands that when they sit in that seat, they cease to represent a political party. So they cease to represent maybe an opposition political party, but rather the needs of the constituency where they come from, the needs of the Zambians must actually be prioritized. So I would say that that's one of the things that's coming from this parliament.
Just reminded me, you know, that we also did see dramatic scenes in Parliament over the years, you know, where opposition members of Parliament were suspended. Others were even physically removed, debates collapsing into political confrontation as well. Did Parliament become too hostile and intolerant of, you know, dissenting voices?
All right. So I think this Parliament of serious political polarization and democratic immaturity as well. So I think being seen some of the dramatic, we had a parliament that was So maybe again, did experience those satirical moments or moments that are not become honorable, but I think they have is that those voices felt like maybe they digress really because to the house of their people. So I don't think there could have been a person that would send their honorable member of parliament to go and use unbecoming language. So again, that is a point of learning. And I think the Institute of Parliamentary Studies is something that needs to pick up on the type of language that we need to use. I must also mention here, Rhoda, that this parliament had quite a mix of people, a lot of first-timers and a lot of younger people. So I think behavior. This parliament had very low representation in terms of women and youths. I think this parliament only had one young person. And for me, that was a really high low. We had a few women. I think we had 11% or 12% of the members of parliament that were women. And for me, I think that is very disappointing at a time like Zambia has for the past 2 decades in place. We've had the national gender policy, which speaks to 50-50. We also have signed up to the Sustainable Development Goals, the SADC protocol on gender, yet we still had this exclusive parliament. And I think this is why issues of women, issues of youths might not have been well dealt with. Persons with disability, I think the only member of parliament that was a person with disability is one that I think lost his seat due to court issues. So again, it was underrepresented. It's important, Rhoda, to put it on the record, to say that while I might have some knowledge about maybe disability, physical disability, I can read about it, blindness and other forms of disability, living with albinism, I might not be the best person to present or propose laws or policies that might be the best to deal with that issue. And this is why we are saying, if the cosmetic of the Zambian voter is that, for instance, ECZ just released a 53% voter roll, which are female. We have about 48% which are youth. We had about, was it 14,000? And I'm surprised that the numbers of persons with disability is quite high. So we have a number of persons with disability that are on the voters' roll. The best thing to do is that the leadership of that House of Lords must be. So I would say that we missed an opportunity, and this one goes to you and me as voters in Zambia and the public out there as voters. Let us try as much as possible when we see on that voters' roll, let's desist from voting partisan. Let us look at representation as well. If there are women offering themselves, persons with disability and young people, let's give them a chance. And I think that way we're going to have a more inclusive Zambia. At the moment, we're number 3 highest in terms of inequality. And I think that is not good. I must also mention that we go to the polls now as we start this electoral cycle under a new system where we have mixed member proportional representation, where we have 20 women, 15 youth, and 15 young people in parliament. From day one, we have at least 20 young women and maybe 5. But I must hasten to mention that the political players have been very notorious. The political parties at the center of this conversation, and they are notoriously they need to stop this. Already we are seeing in the different media that for some people to be adopted, they have to pay huge amounts of money. Where will I as a woman get the money from? Where will a young person, where will a person with disability, who are poorest when we look at the Central Statistics Office they must ensure that at that adoption level, and right now we know that political party adoptions are going on. And you might be interested to note that NGOs, our colleague, have been going around things with these political parties, and they are all to at least barest minimum adopting 30% of women. For young people and disability, we are hoping going to deliver on these promises. They should not just be rhetoric. If we look at the highest office in the land, President, he has pledged to ensure gender parity is actualized, and I think what is it going to give us? So we are really keenly following to see options for the UPND will pan out, and how many women they're giving us, how many young people they're giving us, how many persons with disabilities they're giving us. Because of course also, you know, that first electoral period, there's been quite a number of promises that were made by UPND that were not achieved. So this promise that they have made now, and I think even the chairperson for elections, Honorable Mfalali, was saying that working so hard, his party is working hard to ensure that they meet at least 30%. We want to see them deliver on that promise. Because if they deliver on that promise, then we know that other promising, perhaps in the second tenure of office, they might deliver them. Similarly, the opposition parties, you want to wrestle power from the current government. What do you have for us as women? What do you have for us as persons with disabilities, as young people? And I think based on what you have for us, as a Zambian voter, we are ready to actually critique every promise to see the feasibility of those premises being achieved.
Those points, Ms. Mitaba. But also maybe going further, President Hakainde Hichilema is expected to dissolve Parliament. What message do you expect from the President?
Impartiality in the way things as are done and implemented. So as it goes to National Assembly, I think you should send a categorical message to say that when people sit in Parliament, they should actually take off their party robes. Take off their party robes and realize that they're representing the Zambian people. And I think it starts with his office, the highest office in the land, which is that of the president. Beyond August 13 elections, when somebody is declared and elected the president, they become a president for all Zambians. So those that could have voted for him or her, and those that could not have voted for him or her, they are all people that he has to think about. They are all people whose interests he must put on board. I was basically disappointed when at a political rally, the president actually boasted of having played on Bill 7. For me, that is not something that should have come, because if that tone comes from the president, it is no wonder that even the speaker danced. It is no wonder that even the ministers and members of parliament that are sponsored by the ruling party all sponsored and supported Bill 7. So we don't want such a Zambia. Zambia is the only country that we have. And I think when you differ on an issue as a member of parliament, even if, because whatever we are making, if it's laws that we're making, these are laws that should test of time. We promised, as they had promised last time, that right after elections, about constitutional amendments, comprehensive constitutional amendment, we saw a piecemeal first known to the ruling party. We are told August 2013, in 2026-13, if the European government comes back, we're going to go for a comprehensive constitutional process. For us, we're interested in the Bill of Rights. We hope that this will be, but also there are fears. You know, there are rumors going around to say the reason to temper the constitution is to give themselves maybe 7 years if they win. is also maybe to remove the presidential term limits. So for us, we're expecting that he's going to speak to those issues and assure the nation, say whatever laws are going to be developed by any subsequent parliament, if he comes back into power, will be done in the best interest of the Zambian people. That's one. Number two, I think I lamented about the underrepresentation of women, young people, and persons with disability. I'm hoping that he will acknowledge how unequal this parliament has been, this National Assembly has been, and that is going to express concern that is not happy about it. And that as a contribution, his party will ensure that they sponsor more women, more persons with disability, and more young people to come into member proportional seats, the reserved seats. We hope that these political parties will not just look at the loyalists, the party loyalists. This is the conversation with India, and it's unbecoming, it's unconstitutional to people that have the knowledge and the skill communities. So I earlier on spoke to persons with disability. If, for instance, these political parties don't have persons with disabilities among their party hierarchy, from going to the constituencies that have persons with disability to ask people to second so that our laws can be to the youth organizations. Nothing stops the political parties from going to the youth organizations, the women's organizations, for people that might be streaming, so that our laws going forward are going forward. Even the assessment of the executive execution of their activities, the national plans and budgets actually receive that skill. So there's the NADO, there's ZAFO, there's NGOTC, there's Young Women in Action, and many other organizations that can actually contribute the persons to put under the party reserve list.
People are wondering, the Zambian citizens are wondering, can major national decisions still be made after dissolution? And politically speaking, does the dissolution mark the beginning of campaign season in Zambia?
So thank you very much. Very important question. So the dissolution of parliament marks the end of the voter registration. We have campaigns even outside the voting day. So this dissolution of parliament makes the end of an electoral cycle. So parliament cannot make decisions after it's dissolved. Then it also, we've seen that the ECZ has actually shared the electoral cycle, the campaign cycle, which they are launching on May 29th. And on May 29th, it means that the Electoral Code of Conduct kicks in to provide guidance to those that are wishing to participate in this electoral campaign cycle. So meaning it has laws, do's and don'ts, regulations on how political parties can conduct themselves. For instance, holding rallies and campaigning, or access to the media to also sell their manifestos and also sell themselves as political candidates for those that are going as independents, or they could be sponsored by the parties. So as it kicks in, we are hoping that political parties are orienting their people on the do's and don'ts, the issues around vote buying, the issues about bribery, getting people's national registration cards or voters cards is not allowed. It's a crime. So they need to orient themselves. As well as a fourth estate, this is a code of conduct says, and we're able to test the leaders. Because if a leader is coming to pay me a 20 kwacha for my vote, what kind of a leader am I sending into parliament? It means that that leader is corrupt. They'll steal more of my money. And the first thing they want to do when they are elected is that they want to recoup their investment because it will be deemed as investment. So even as people, we need to be able to sensitize the voters to desist from selling their votes. Your vote is very important. And if it so happens that you've already received money, there's a reason why the vote is a secret ballot. So even if you received money from Honorable Leah Mitawa to vote for her at Lusaka Central, and you use that money, you are not obligated to vote for her because your vote is secret and you must protect it, and your vote has got no cost. So if you got the money, please release yourself from that illegal contract that you entered into and vote for a member of parliament that you believe has got high levels of integrity. Look beyond what we are being told to ensure that the voting offices that are credible.
Lessons should political leaders learn from this parliament, and what should the next parliament do differently?
All right, thank you very much. So I think I did allude to some of the things that you don't. For instance, if you're a Speaker of National Assembly, you are a politician, you can't dance just because maybe a law has been passed or not passed. We also, as civil society organizations, expect transparency, constitutionalism, governance, citizen participation. This I cannot overemphasize. We want to participate. When we vote for you, it doesn't mean that we've also given you the power to think for us. We want you to come back to us as your electorate, to consult us on what should happen. And I think certain government sectors have done really well in doing this. So I think that's our expectation. Then also protection of civic space. So whatever laws are being passed undermine the gains that we have made. Our human rights. For instance, we are of the view at ZCSD that the public gathering bill should actually, and hoping that the president back to the House of Lords for this reason, so that we participate. I, for instance, did not participate. I would have loved to participate. So I think that's what we would say. And then also our message to the political parties to say, you are the people on the high table, so can you give us more women, give us persons with disability and young people? And then the message to citizens is that democracy does not begin and end on voting day. Citizens should remain engaged, informed, peaceful throughout the electoral period, and elections are non-violent. In ending, I should say that the dissolution of parliament is not just the end of a political term. It is an opportunity for reflection, and I'm hoping my colleagues are reflecting. And thank you to you, Prime TV, for giving this platform to reflect. As Zambia prepares for the next chapter, the key questions is simply not how many laws are passed, like I said, but whether our democratic institutions are becoming more inclusive, accountable, and responsive to.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Leah Mitawa, for speaking to us this morning and for giving us a very insightful conversation on Parliament, how it's been performing, and what to expect going further. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Good day.
All right, so that was Madam Leah Mitawa, obviously the Executive Director for the Zambia Council for Social Development. Just, a very interesting conversation, especially the part where she spoke about how, the tone of Parliament has been and how some of the members of Parliament have behaved, so far in terms of, just holding up power and decision-making.
Absolutely, Rhoda. I was enjoying this particular conversation. It was an all-round analysis of the UPND government. She has spoken to the executive, the legislature. The only thing she hasn't spoken to is the judiciary, because probably we didn't have asked her on that particular part. But of course, we concentrated much on Parliament, how the life of Parliament, which is yet to be dissolved, has performed. And really, the take-home message is that, for me, what I've gotten from her is that citizens had high expectations towards this particular parliament. And another take-home message is that she has rated this particular parliament on an average, okay, moderately. They have not gone beyond, neither have they gone at the bottom.
Hasn't
no.
been good, hasn't been
It
bad.
hasn't been bad. She has spoken to issues of members of parliament who did not conduct in a honorable way. She mentioned issues of members of parliament who could go ahead and call others Chimutwe, you know.
Others were dancing after a bill is passed.
Yes, and for me, following her analysis, like she said that more was expected for this particular parliament. At this level, I've never witnessed so many members of parliaments that have been taken to court for having probably said something at the parliament grounds, because it is believed that they have got the immunity, all right? But also that does not mean that members of parliament should misbehave or do things that are not honorable in that particular area. But of course, we've got members of parliament that have been taken to jail. I don't remember in the past seeing a member of parliament that has been taken to jail for having said something at parliament grounds. So obviously, she has touched so many areas. She has spoken to so many areas with regards to this particular parliament. You spoke to the issue of the referee dancing after a team scoring. The members, the Speaker of the National Assembly. This is where I say there's no separation of power. If we think critically, there's no separation of power, because a Speaker is an appointee of the executive. They're an appointee of the president. So obviously, you expect her to have some kind of, him or her to have some kind of favors towards a particular section of the society. So obviously, it's one of those things that would have made this particular parliament to be rated in a certain way.
Absolutely, and obviously, you know, the takeaway, one of the other takeaway messages is that, you know, members of parliament should not become something else. Members of parliament, you know, need to become legislators and not defenders of political parties like we have seen in the past few years. And of course, you know, she did also mention that some citizens feel that members of parliament spend a lot of time in political battles, you know, like throwing shade at this person, defending their political party, instead of addressing issues that Zambian citizens are facing on the ground in their various constituencies. Great interview.
I think, again, the other issue, I think, like she said, a lot was expected of this particular parliament because they should have learned whilst they were in opposition. During the Patriotic Front and the UPND in opposition, the UPND in opposition walked out of parliament more oftenly, okay, of which probably there are certain things that they didn't agree with. But of course, coming back and probably doing some of the things that they didn't agree with in the past. And unfortunately, during this particular parliament, we've never seen the opposition. It was rare to see the opposition walk out of parliament. But of course, we've seen more suspensions and more people being taken to court for things that they may have said at parliament buildings.
Yeah.
All right, at this particular time, you're still on the Sunrise Breakfast, the morning dose, and we go straight into a story coming from Central Province. A 22-year-old man of Kapira. The incident occurred on May 13th, 2026 at Njengelo Bar, and identified the deceased got into an argument with Happy Mwandila, a Chilaya Kabili at the bar. Mr. Chilwa says it is alleged that after the altercation, the two suspects allegedly lured the victim outside the bar, where he was stabbed 3 times and died on the spot. Meanwhile, police have arrested one suspect in connection with the matter, while the other suspect remains on the run. Joseph Sambihi brought us this report.
Kapurimposho Police Station received a case of murder reported on the 13th of May 2026 at around 0120 hours, which occurred on 13th of May 2026 around 24 hours at Njanjero Bar in Tenov area. The victim has been identified as Benson Moyo, age 22, of Kapurimposho's Tenov, who was murdered by Chilaya Kabili, age 30, and one other male person, commonly known as Happy Mwandila, of Zambia compound. The deceased sustained 3 stab wounds on the left side of his body. Central Province Police Commanding Officer Lemekanchirwa says brief facts are that on the 12th of May 2026, at around 23:50 hours, the deceased and the other 2 suspects were at Njanjero Bar, Tenov area, playing pool and drinking beer. During the drinking, the deceased started arguing with Happy Mwandila. Thereafter, Happy Mwandila and Chilaya Kabili went outside while the deceased remained inside. A few minutes later, Kabili Chilaya went back inside and called the deceased to go out with him. Immediately after he went outside, Happy Mwandila stabbed the deceased with a knife 3 times. The deceased died on the spot from the stab wounds to the left side of the body. The murder was reported at Tenov Police Post by onlookers who were drinking beer at the said bar. Acting on this report, police officers visited the scene and inspected the body. They observed that the deceased had sustained 3 stab wounds on the left side of his body. The body was picked and deposited in Kapurimposho Urban Clinic, awaiting post-mortem examination to establish the cause of death and burial. One suspect, Chilaya Kabili, has been apprehended and detained in police custody. He will appear in court soon, and the police is still pursuing the other suspect who is at large. Joseph Siambehi reporting, Prime TV News.
Welcome back, and you're still on the Sunrise Breakfast Show on PTV2, the channel, which is on Topstar, channel 110, and streaming on our Facebook page, as well as YouTube. That is PTV2 Zambia. Of course, we are going towards the end of the Sunrise Breakfast Show, the morning dose. And of course, would like to find out what has been happening in the world of sport, as well as what is yet to happen this weekend in as far as sports is concerned. And of course, like we said earlier on the show, that we saw the news of Hamiworms invading the Hero Stadium. Obviously, we'll be getting all this as Jesse will be taking us through sports from myself. And Rhoda, we are out of this place, but this time around, join Jesse Blaze with sports. Good morning, Jesse.
Morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah.
How's been the week?
My week has been tiring.
I know how this place is.
But it's nice. Yeah.
You do radio, TV. If it is TV, then it is 1, 2, and oh my goodness, before you know it, the day is gone.
Yeah.
Let's get straight into what is making news in sports.
Well, first of all, it's a very sad situation, and that's the reason maybe why Rhoda was accusing me of being sad. I may be sad because of some of the results that we got from athletics. In terms of this, it's a very sad situation that we've been getting mixed results that are very, very sad situation, especially when it comes to some of the athletes that have participated at the biggest at the biggest level. Nidi English is one of those that we expected, because she's been participating for over 10 years, so we needed to find some of the greatest results from them. First of all, kudos to the association to making sure that they go and participate in this great tournament. They took 22 athletes that went to participate. Some of them have been veterans, some of them are new, and we understand for the new athletes, I think they needed to get acquainted to everything, international competitions and everything, so that they get closer to what they're supposed to. But unfortunately, it's only Nidi Minglish and just 400 meters that they managed to get into the semi-finals of this tournament. No medal that has been brought back home so far, but we're still going. We still have some more races to go. So today is day 4, and we've seen so many of those that are getting medals from this championship. Of course, Africa and Ghana, Nigeria, they've been really topping in terms of the medals that have been getting, in terms of how things have been moving. But one thing that I have to be happy for is that for the first time, I think for the first time in the longest time, we've sent javelin athletes who's going to participate in javelin, high jump and long jump as well. In long jump, we haven't had in the longest period of time. It's like we just really concentrated on 400 meters, 100 meters, and relays. But at this moment, it's like, I think it's wide. The 22 have been participating in so many races, some of them in 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, hurdles, and all that. It's 800 meters for the first time as well, long distance. I think we did have one that went to participate in this, if not 2. So it's a good thing for Zambia athletics. I think it's a beginning, and we only hope that we do have where they will be training from, because I think the training wasn't really much, because they were at OIDC, and you know that there is no running track. I think the training sessions were not really fully like they were supposed to. So I think we need to have infrastructure as well. It's really killing us as well. But all in all, it was a very sad. It's a very sad outing. It's not done yet, but we haven't really gotten anything. Mzala Samkonga has been invited as well to go and participate in the big one, and this is a very fantastic tournament that is going to, which is a very beautiful tournament for him in Tokyo. So he will be participating alongside the greatest of athletes that will be participating in the 400 meters. But one thing that I have to mention about Mzala Samkonga is that his personal best is standing at 43.7, which is a very huge in terms of how he did run. But he hasn't been running at that particular level. It's really been reducing. Like, for example, this year he ran 44.5. And he came second in Botswana when he went to participate in the tournament. And probably it's not the best for Mzala Samkonga. He needs to pull up his socks for him to do better. And recently you saw that he went into the indoor, where he participated in the 3 meters instead of 4 meters. So he managed in the 300 meters, and he managed to get 30. He did get a gold medal, which is a good thing for him, and maybe a morale boost for this particular Muzala Samkonga. So he will be running against the likes of, first of all, it's a creme de la creme. A lot of athletes will be there. The Noah Rouse will be there, and so many other greats, fantastic. Rai Benjamin, who has the 43 as well, in the range of 43, has been fantastic as well. And so many others that will come through into this particular tournament. It's going to be amazing for Mzala Samkonga because he's running against the creme de la creme. And remember that Commonwealth Games will be probably in July, July to August. We'll be expecting Muzala to go and run and, of course, defend, win the title that he won back in the days when he beat some of those that he managed to beat. And when we came to know about Muzala Samkonga, really, he commanded. And from the Africa Championship that happened, unfortunately, he's not there because of these commitments. So, and the fact that he's already qualified to the Commonwealth, he's already qualified to the Africa Championship, he's already qualified to the World Championship. So for him, is to give chance to others that haven't really qualified so that they can also qualify to these tournaments so that we have as many as possible. So we only hope that they will do better and they'll continue doing the right things that they're supposed to do. However, from there we get to judo, and they've been training. First of all, they do have the Musa Biscuit tournament that will be happening at OIDC this weekend. So this is just some teams will get together, they'll go and participate. And that's where they're going to pick the creme de la creme of teams that will participate in so many tournaments that will be happening. First of all, the one that will be in South Africa, that's the Open Championship in South Africa. It's a very big one, and it's going to be on the 26th to 28th June 2026. This is a South Africa Open, and it's a big one for judo. Again, we'll have the Commonwealth Games that I was talking about. That is going to be in Scotland from 23rd to 2nd August. From 23rd July to 2nd August. And then we'll have the Dakar Youth Olympic Games set for 30th October to 13th November 2026. So you see the calendar is really packed for judo. And for judo, for me, is one of the sports disciplines where we get medals, especially when it comes to Commonwealth Games. We've been getting medals together with boxing and athletics. It's a pity that athletics didn't really do well. Last year they didn't do very well. Only the 4x400 meters I think did well. But this year I think we're expecting them to get acquainted with everything and start getting medals for us. So participation has been really very, very bad. And I'm all hoping that the judo team is going to do better this far. Because I think as we stand at the moment, it's only mixed martial arts that did well. In as far as Africa Championship, if you remember, they went to Rwanda, Angola, and they managed to get 4 gold medals, 5 silver medals, and 7 bronze medals, and they had 16 medals all together counted. And with the team of 20, and only 4 didn't get a medal, it's a very good.
Brilliant.
It's a brilliant tournament that they had. And we'll be hoping that they will continue this trajectory and, of course, go into the World Championship and manage to win and get the medals that they require to get. So as we stand, the gold medals that we have is mixed martial arts. So far, it's mixed martial arts. And the other medal is the under 17 that managed to win at OIDC. They managed to win in it's a regional tournament. It's not really a big tournament, but it's a regional tournament, and they qualified to the Africa Cup of Nations. So we hope that the under 17 is going to get a medal at the Africa Cup of Nations as well. Getting it in regional tournament, I think we do have that, and it's amazing for that. So we hope that this judo team, and they're going to take it, positively. Especially that this tournament is where they're going to pick the creme de la creme of athletes that are going to participate in these tournaments that I've mentioned here. And then away from here, we talk about what has really been transpiring in as far as football is concerned. And we did have some of the greatest games that happened. First of all, before that, we do have the Zambia volleyball tournaments that will be happening. It's a friendly game. So they will be playing against Zambia women against Zimbabwe, Zambia men against Zimbabwe. It's going to be amazing. It's countdown to that. Probably just 9 days to go before that. So we'll be hoping to see how Zambia is going to perform and participate in this. It's a very good friendly game against Zimbabwe. And these are some of the things that we call for. At least we should be having some friendly games before we get into some of these great tournaments that we should be having. And it's going to be amazing for people to watch volleyball and to go and enjoy themselves to the fullest at OIDC. Just continue watching this show so that at least you continue getting to know the dates and when Zimbabwe is going to arrive, so that you can go and have fun. And OIDC they've been really tremendous. They've been fantastic, especially when they hosted the handball tournament. It was amazing to see 8 teams coming through to Zambia and participating. Of course, we had the under-17 and under-20 participating, and of course, saying this was a very beautiful tournament. It's just a great one. So I'm hoping even the volleyball team from Zimbabwe that is going to come through, they will be happy going back home with a very beautiful tournament that we're going to give them at OIDC. And away from there, we get now to football, and this is where we talk about the MTN Fast Super League games that happened during the week. And we did see Nkana winning, and Buffaloes beat Might and Free Wanderers. Unfortunately, I would say some of the games that I watched were boring.
Isn't?
Yeah, because look, most of the teams are not playing for anything. When you look at the table, really, those teams that because obviously the top slot has been taken by Power Dynamos, so they're going to play continental football. They are the champions. And Red Arrows have won the second position. Of course, they even won the ABSA, so they're going to participate in continental football. So that is already taken. So what are you fighting for if you are on 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and probably even just a mid-table? What are you fighting for? Nothing. Except for those that are bottom, they're fighting for relegation. And maybe those games are really tough. The likes
Fighting
of Nkana.
for prestige, Jesse.
Yeah, the likes of prestige, really. And when I watched that game, it was a very sad game, because I didn't see anything. I didn't watch anything beautiful about that game. It was a very sad game, like boring, really. And one thing that I have to mention is that maybe the game that was really amazing, despite the fact that referees didn't do the right things that they were supposed to do, is Napsa Stars versus Zanaco. It was a beautiful game, a very, very fantastic game, except that the referees were, they almost lynched the referee. They almost beat him because of the 2 red cards, penalty, and, it was a very sad situation. Zanaco felt hard done by, and they wanted to beat the referee. It was a very sad situation. But anyways, again, this is what I always talk about when it comes to officiating. Even the game that I was watching, Green Buffaloes versus Might and Free Wanderers, the referee made a blunder. So many mistakes that were noticed, but this one was noticed because it is a mistake that is not supposed to be made by the official that with his pedigree. Really. What happened was that, first of all, the number 23, the Green Buffaloes player was given a yellow card in the first half. So he had the same jersey number with the Might and Free Wanderers player. So in the second half, the Might and Free Wanderers player was given a yellow card. Different players. The same jersey numbers. So he felt like this is the one that I booked in the first half.
Oh no!
So they gave him a red card.
Oh no!
And then the player was surprised, and he went to the officials and said, "No, but me, this is the first booking.
I'm not even on the yellow.
This is the first yellow card that you're giving me. Why are you giving me a red card?"
Straight red.
And these are some of the things that we talk about. He is the referee of his caliber. That is not a mistake that you're supposed to make. So it was a very sad situation that they had to really talk a little bit for 5 minutes, and then they went back and resolved it, and the player continued playing, which is not supposed to be. Those are mistakes that was not supposed to be made. And then again, Muza FC was supposed to hold to play against to host Nkwazi, and then the communication came on the day of the game, which is not supposed to be the case. And I think if you're really not going to have a game, if there is anything that has happened, you have to notify the team 48 hours before. So Nkwazi was notified when they had already traveled to Mazabuka, and of course they didn't play against Muza FC because the ground wasn't ready. I think the Nakambala team wanted to use it for something else. I don't know. So the game wasn't held. So it will be played later on. But look at the income, the money that has been spent by Nkwazi traveling there. It's a very sad situation, and I think it shouldn't be happening, especially that this is the biggest tier or the highest tier in our Zambian football. These things shouldn't be happening, and I think they need to work on so that at least we get back to what is supposed to be. So that is the table, and that's how it looks like at the moment. And we only have Mines United demoted already, and of course the top two teams that are going to participate in continental football in Red Arrows and of course CAF Confederations Cup, and Power Dynamos will play in continental football. So Power Dynamos have retained. It's only Red Arrows that have come to take over the part that Zesco United participated in this continental football. So let's hope for the best for these two teams that they will be participating in continental football. And finally, of course, we do have what happened and what transpired. Red Arrows really were very, very fantastic, winning the ABSA Cup. It was amazing for them to win. And I think a lot of people didn't give them a chance to win against Power Dynamos because of the form that Power Dynamos have been in this year. And they managed to win 2-0, very convincing. Kangwanda winning the Golden Boots Award, and it's been really fantastic. And look, for the Zambian players, he scored 12 goals, which is not a good thing. And you can't celebrate 12 goals, really, when the Golden Boot winner has scored 21 goals. And is from Kenya, in Moses Shuma. And he scored more than some of these teams, like in so many other teams. He has outscored teams. And if you look at Green Buffaloes, the top scorer is 4 goals. You look at Mighty Pro Wanderers, the top scorer is 5 goals. So it's a very sad situation that teams will be scoring such kind of goals, and it's not really very good. But I think we need to start working on our striking and our scoring, but we get back to winning ways. And the under-17 have gone back into camp. They will be playing against DR Congo. It's a very tough game for under-20. And they have to qualify to the World Cup, because I think they've been qualifying back-to-back twice in a row. Carol Kanyemba making a name for herself as a coach to the next round or second round of the tournament, which is a very good thing for Carol Kanyemba. And I think she still has some bone to chew with the World Cup, so qualifying is going to be amazing. So this is one of the hurdles that she has to face, and the technical bench, which got a very rich technical bench, really. You look at Mwikisa, one of the prolific strikers, really in our country. He scored goals. He understands it. He can read. And of course, he's one of those that have been reading how Zambia has been performing in terms of that video assistant or whatever you can call him. And of course, one of those that have been tremendous in terms of, he was with Kafua Celtic at one point, an assistant, and then he came through. He's at OIDC. He's training as a coach at the headquarters of OIDC football department. So he's been really fantastic and a very good analyst and understand football. So the technical bench has been is rich for the under-17, I think, and they understand each other. They've been performing up to expectations, and I'm only hoping DR Congo will fall. And the army worm. It's a very sad situation. A very sad situation indeed. We never expected such to happen, and of course they have already fumigated, which is a good thing.
Is it spiritual?
No, it's not. It's not really. It's just one of those things, and I think we maybe we didn't anticipate it because it's a new turf and everything, so it's attractive to army worm. So they just got there, and of course fumigated, and we hope for the best, and let's see what happens later on. But the only problem is that so they can't actually do anything. They can't start working on other refurbishing the running track and everything. So they have stalled. They have to wait until they see how the grass is going to be for them to move to the next level. So
the turf was ravaged.
Yes. So, but I think they've fumigated. I think you can't. It's not really bad. But yeah, they've fumigated. So we're just waiting to see how they will be. Got back together and see how it's going to be for the next round of refurbishing that they have to do, because of course they haven't even touched the roof, they haven't touched the running track, and I'm all hoping that the running track will be dealt with, because that's where athletics will be training from, because they don't have any. I went for the trainings before they left for Ghana. It was very sad because OIDC doesn't have the running track. I don't know, whatever we did. We when they opened, it was there. We don't know how to maintain things. So maintenance is just a problem. So I think we should work on maintenance. Even when Hero Stadium gets back to where it's supposed to be, I think maintenance will be top notch for us to step in.
And just away from that, this week we received news of a renowned commentator from the Copper Belt, Leonard Chivasa, passed.
Oh, it's a very sad situation.
Because after Dennis, we came to Leonard, whom we listened to on radio.
It's a very sad situation. I've listened to him most of the time on radio, especially those games at Zesco United, Nkana, Mighty Wanderers. He's been the commentator for that, and he's been really tremendous, very, very fantastic. And it's a very sad loss. So we've got others that have remained, like the likes of Kwazaku Tuka. And father. That have remained. But it's a very sad situation that Renard, the passing of Renard.
Indeed, as we conclude, Jesse, today Parliament dissolves, and I know you have interacted so many times with the sports minister. You had a good relationship with sports minister. So obviously after the dissolution today, his position ceases to exist. How has been your experience, and how would you want to rate the Minister of Sports of his country?
He has been really fantastic. He's been tremendous, especially when it comes to media. I think he allowed us to have interviews with him any day, any time that you would like to have an interview. And I'm glad that is some of the few radio stations and TV stations that he's been to. He's been here twice, I think on radio as a youth minister, and then on TV with me as a sports minister. So it's amazing, and it's a beautiful thing. He did well. He pushed really in as far as everything is concerned, and he also started something that is a very big thing, but also he has to start in his constituency. Unfortunately, I was hoping that he was going to start it in Lusaka to build that Mount facility kind of arena that we needed to have in Zambia. And I think his core is that every MP should use CDF to make sure that they build in their constituencies such kind of facilities. First, Kangwa will be playing his last game was at Woodland Stadium. For those that would like to go and see Evans Kalulu Kangwa, to go and see how he performed, probably starting with the under-17, under-20, under-23. With Sate, I think they were a very notable force together. So I'm only hoping that Sate, and he ended in Nkana, because he started in Nkana, he went through to different places, and he went back to Nkana last season. I don't know if he's still with Nkana really, but he hasn't been playing. So for him to just hand over or just stop his participation in terms of football completely. But I think he has to concentrate now with his academy, Shamuel. So we see some more Kangwas to come through, and more Tofo, more Sate to be created at that particular Shamuel academy.
That has been sports. For most of us who believes that football is the only sport, but tell you what, Jesse will come here and unpack everything to do with sports, from athletics to football on the pitch, volleyball, and everything else. You just get it from Jesse Blaze. This has been the Sunrise Breakfast Show. The Morning Dance has been Rhoda And Maidon and my colleague Jesse Blaze. Until Monday, God bless you. Bye-bye.
Welcome to New World of Entertainment in Zambia. Cartoons, music, news, movies, drama, series, documentaries, food, travel, the best from Hollywood and Bollywood, international football, including CAF competitions, La Liga, Serie A, German Bundesliga, Saudi League, Carabao Cup, Asian Championship, Barclays Women's League, local leagues, and much more. Grab your Azam TV decoder at 350 Zambian kwacha and full kit at 589 Zambian kwacha. Affordable monthly packages, 100 Zambian kwacha, 200 Zambian kwacha, and 300 Zambian kwacha. For more details, contact us on 971-246-222, 763-664-455. WhatsApp 77-500-0013. Azam TV, entertainment